What up, everybody? Welcome to the Xcast. Right about now, we want to welcome you to the greatest podcast on earth, hosted by yours truly, the XSP. I want to hear you say Xcast. Xcast.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Xcast. We got a great show for you today. We have a great show. We have a wonderful show for you today. There's been a lot of things going on this past weekend, this past week, and kind of get your mind into some different things. But we're going to try to keep it positive today. We're going to try to keep it going with that positivity, with the great stories that entertain you and maybe make you think a little bit. But before we get to all that, before we get to our guest, I have to plug some things right now, plug some other podcasts. You could look up A Burning Hope with Renee Torres on Spotify. You can look up Project Restore on Spotify with Jason Garcia. That's my brother. And you can also look up the Xcast with XSP on Spotify as well. If you don't like watching, maybe you don't have time to totally watch them, you want to listen to them in your car or something like that, then you can go to Spotify. And also, I will be uploading past things that I've done that are not on YouTube and they're not on any other streaming site. I'll be doing that as well. There's a lot of great stories within all of those. If you like music, I am a musician. I go by the name of the XSP, Extreme Street Preacher, and you can find me on all streaming sites. You can find me on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. Find me on Bandcamp.com. All those different things. If you like music, check out what I do. I do a little bit of rock, do a little bit of hip hop, and mix up a lot of different genres. And hopefully that's something you'd like to hear. And if you're out there and you're thinking, hey, that XSP, that guy's a good guy, I want to donate to what he's doing there in Texas, you can do that at paypal.com, and you can send money to demonslayerxsp@yahoo.com. So that's one of the ways you can give if that's what you like to do. But with all that out of the way, I want to invite our guest. He's a veteran. We seem to get a lot of veterans on this show, which is awesome. I support our troops. I support veterans. I support America. He's a veteran. He's a professional wrestler and an all-around great guy. So he goes by the name of Chino BAFA Reyes, and we're about to get him on right now. All right, everybody, welcome back. We are here. I'm here with Chino BAFA Reyes. I said before in the intro, there it is. There's that pose. He's a veteran. He's a professional wrestler and an all-around nice guy. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, PJ. Thank you. I don't know about nice guy. It all depends on who you ask, but for the most part, I try to,
Always been nice
try
to me.
hey, man, I try to be cool with everyone, unless, it involves my family or my friends. Well, then it's a different story. But thank you. I appreciate, I just try to be nice to everyone.
Cool, man. I appreciate you taking your time. And, man, like I said, I say in all my interviews, I don't want it to be a normal kind of let's talk about the state of everything going on. I know you have a great story to tell. I'm sure your life is very interesting. You come up in the south side of San Antonio. But I want to ask you this. Have you ever witnessed anything that you couldn't explain, whether it be alien abductions, whether it be paranormal, whether it be supernatural, whatever the case is? Tell us your story, man.
So I guess just, growing up on the south side, San Antonio is known for being very haunted. San Antonio is known for having a lot of, activity, paranormal activity. Going out to, the old mental asylum before they wouldn't let you go, or breaking in because we were young, dumb kids. And before it got all ratted out, just, being with your buddies and you saw someone move, you're like, let's go over there, let's go check that out. And there's no one there. faces in the windows, or the broken windows, and you just see like a face pass by. You're like, yeah, I don't know about all this. I don't like this. Let's not do this. I guess as far as like aliens or so, I wouldn't say aliens. I would never say aliens or UFOs because I don't know what it was, and I'm not going to be 100%. I'll never be 100% about it. Um, I guess the lights over Fallujah. Just seeing lights, like dancing, like hovering and dancing. Sometimes little lights coming like dangling, looked like they were dangling from the bottom, and then they'd go right back up, and that was it. So and then of course you have like Donkey Lady Bridge that every Southsider's been to, where it's like I don't hear anything, and the next thing you know, like you hear like heavy footsteps and like I wouldn't say a donkey brain because that would just be cliche, but you just be like, you know what, I don't like this. Let's go, guys. So I mean, that's it. Really, just growing up on the South Side. Well, like I said, or like I was saying, I went to South Side my freshman year, and then after that, I graduated from McCollum in 2000. My goal was to originally go to a university, ASU. My dad took me up there, and we had a blast. Got to meet fraternities, got to meet the coaches. They're like, hey, get us like a highlight tape. Your times, what you bench, what you squat. And I said, nope. You know what? Everyone else is going to Palo Alto and San Antonio College and all this. Nah, I'm bored. I'm gonna join the army. And that's exactly what I did. I joined the army, and like I said, that first week or first couple of weeks actually really, really was like, you know what? If I was back home right now, I'd be at the college. I'd be partying with my friends, be having a great time. But then I was like, you know what? No, like I'm here. I stuck with it. They're gonna put me through this hell, but at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing is gonna benefit me in the long run, and my family's gonna be proud of me. So let's do it.
So it's cool, man. You said you joined kind of on a whim. You didn't want to do the normal thing that most people were doing, and you joined the army. What was that? Do you have any specifics about that first kind of going into the army? I know a lot of people have different stories. I've talked to several veterans on the podcast, and they always say that first week is like hell on earth. It seems like they
It's
just go through the most craziest of times. I had one guy who was he was an army veteran, and he joined in like the late '70s, maybe early '80s, something around
ooh,
there. And
yeah.
back then, there he was like they were knocking him off his feet, and they were hitting him in his chest and creating this chaos, so that he could, if, that way he'll if he's gonna break there in training and not in the battlefield. Do you experience anything like that?
I mean, by the time I joined, like they really couldn't touch you like they did with those guys back in the day. But you let me use a different analogy because that's probably not or not analogy, but you don't know what pain is until you make it rain indoors. And if you know what that means, that basically means like there was so much grueling exercises and just punishing us for being there that our body heat, our sweat just was so bad that it rose to the seat to the roof, to ceiling, and it started dripping off the ceiling. And so that's where we'd say, all right, when we would screw up, they'd be like, all right, boys, all right, you know what? We're gonna make it rain indoors today, and we knew we were gonna be in trouble. So yeah, we did a lot of that, a lot of I didn't know how much sand you can hide on your person until they're like, all right, we're gonna go swimming, and we're like, oh, okay, us being dumb near to the army. Oh yeah, okay, let's go swimming. The next thing you know, we're in this huge sand pit, huge volleyball pit, or whatever it is, and we would start swimming, backstroke, forward. So, I mean, it was different. But once they knew they had us, and once they're like, all right, cool, we're breaking you down. Now we're gonna build you up. And don't get me wrong, it was still tough, but we ended up making it. So
Do you feel that that was a good experience for you? That it helped you even now in your civilian life, or was it kind of something that you were just like, nah, that it was just a part of my life, or did it help you a lot going further in your further adulthood?
it actually did. First of all, I met great friends that I still talk to this day. But it helped me maintain, learn discipline. it also helped me learn that, hey, you know what, in order to be a leader, you have to follow first. And I knew that like, what, I can do this. I can be a leader. I can move forward. And like I said, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was an awesome time. It was fun. It was a pain, but it was fun. But yeah, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I honestly believe that it did help me.
What was it like? I see, Fallujah. That was during. Was that during the after 9/11? Uh,
Correct. So I got my orders to go.
okay.
We got our orders to go to Iraq, and part of that first push in '03. And
What was that
that
like?
was bad.
It was
Yeah, that was just, it was, the logistics were bad. Like everything was bad. Like you were you flew in and you didn't know what was going on. You were like, okay, what are we doing? Like, how are we doing this? Everything was just like everything. It was so disorganized. That's what it was. Even though it was organized on paper, everything was just bad. Like you get off, you're in your chemical suit, you're still waiting, and then next thing you know, like, hey, not taking the showers, for a week or so, or maybe 2 3 weeks, baby wiping it, and then waiting in line to get into like a tent, like shopette type deal, and for like 4 or 5 hours, and there's nothing you need, so you just walk around because you're bored. You're like, you know what? All right, cool. And then like, all right, let's go, boys. We're crossing. So that was really scary. Anyone who says they weren't scared, I don't know. I don't know how I could feel about that. But when you cross that border and you see that ditch, it's like a 20, 30 foot like ditch in the ground with like concertina wire, barbed wire wrapped in it, and seeing things in there, you're like, okay, you know what? This just got really real. Like, no matter all the training in the world, it got really real, really fast. So yeah, that's how it was, the initial push. I mean, once everything, getting into the year of it, so getting later 5 6 7 8 months into it, okay, cool, got my routine down, know what I'm doing, got this and that. But yeah, that first initial push was, it was pretty bad.
so was that during the time where they were putting a lot of I'm not sure what they're called, but they cover them with dirt and they blow up whenever I'm not sure what they're called. I think
The
they're missile.
IEDs.
Or, yeah, IEDs.
Yeah, you have
Was there
those in the
one of those
road.
out there?
Yeah, I know,
What you
it
ever
was
have
horrible.
any instances with those types of things? Um,
Yeah, we got we were hit, almost daily on convoys, even though, like, hey, you had your gunner, like, hey man, I see something in the road. What? I see something in the road. What? And then there you are. You feel the Humvee get hit, and you just keep driving, keep driving. Yeah, it was scary. Especially that first one, you'll never forget. That first one was like, oh, all right, yeah, guys, let's keep going, and let's try not to leave anyone behind, but let's keep going. So yeah, it was pretty intense.
and how long did you say you were out there?
Oh, that first push was 13 months.
Okay, that seems that's a long time. I know we some of us have been in our homes for just a couple months, and I can't imagine being in a hostile environment for 13 months. Has some of that training that you got in the army helped you out today, as far as like kind of being able to stay in one spot kind of for a long period of time?
Yeah, it's a joke, me and my, because I do have friends, they've broken the law, they're felons, and we see people complaining like, oh my God, I'm stuck in home, or oh my goodness, I'm stuck at the house, I can't leave, I can't do anything, and we're just like, yeah, rookies, first timers, come on, this is nothing, y'all got this, come on. That's why, like, I, ugh, it gets me when I hear people like complain about it, because it's like, trust me, this is nothing compared to how worse it could be being stuck somewhere in one place.
Right. And so when you finally got home, did you feel like a sense of relief, or do you feel like accomplished in any way, or do you feel like you made a big difference going out there and doing your duty?
um Coming home, I really didn't feel like I did enough. I felt like there was way more I could have done, that there was more guys I could have brought home. um, yeah, like I personally feel like I didn't do enough out there. And to this day, I'll always forget that even after second rotation, whatever rotation, you always feel like I didn't do enough. I still didn't do enough. I could have done more. My family, is like, no, you did. We're proud of you. You did. You came home. Cool. I mean, I get that, but there's other guys who could have came home too. There's a lot of other guys that could have came home. So you always have that with you. You always carry it with you, and it's like, okay, this is what's pushing me, because I want to make sure that this guy, to however you believe, I'm not one to you know preach to people this and that, whatever the case may be. However you believe, you always want to feel like, what, dude, like I made this guy proud. I made this person proud. So that's always stuck with me. Like, okay, you know what? If this person was still here, I know that by the way I'm living my life, the way I'm doing things now, that they'd be proud.
Man, that's awesome. I know that in everything, and this is something I learned from wrestling as we're gonna start to segue. No matter what part of the card you're on, you want to do your best. Whether you're the opening guy, whether you're doing a run-in, whether you're the main event, you want to be the absolute best. That's the way I kind of look at things. I know I've heard of other guys in the wrestling business talk the same way. Is that you put your all out, no matter what part of the card you are, and so as I'm talking about that, and I really do appreciate you being out there, because during that time I think I was probably like 18 years old, maybe 17. So I was still in school, and I remember feeling the impact even in school, um, with everybody going out, and just thank you very much for being one of those people that goes out for fighting for this young person to be who I am and live as free as I wanted to for that time, and I appreciate it.
No, thank you for your support, man. Like, it's hard. People come up to me like, thank you for your service. I'm like, okay, well, thank you for your support. Thank you for being someone that is worth defending. Thank you that I can that. Thank you for showing me that you're just not this crummy person. This person that's just taking everything for granted. Like, you're an awesome person, and I'm glad that I was able to go out and you could stay here and make sure things were taken care of back here.
Awesome, man. So, at what point did wrestling come into your life? At what point did you start to venture off into this cartoony world that we all love so much? What was the beginning? Maybe go take it back from the very first memories of wrestling, and then what caused you to go into wrestling?
So I in high school actually was I was somewhat connected because um if you remember back here in San Antonio back in the day, they used to have wrestling. They would show it on TV like at midnight, you know. And so if you ever looked at the canvas, it was Texas Discount Furniture that was on the canvas that sponsored the canvas. My dad owned Texas Discount Furniture at the time, so he's the one that's like, "Hey, doing something crazy like what? I'm sponsoring wrestling. Like what? You're doing what?" And at the time, I would watch wrestling. It's like, no way. So I got to meet a lot of guys. I got to meet so many guys that are out there now. Guys that are head trainers 30 plus years. Some guys that were up and coming that I still you know even to this day I'll shoot them a message. What are you doing, jerk? Or this and that. They're like nothing, and we'll go back and forth. Um, I got into wrestling through this. How do I? Okay, so some lady had a wrestling ring in her backyard, and she was like, "Hey, if y'all are serious about this, like, we'll train y'all. Just come help put it up, break it down, maintenance, all that." Okay, well, come to find out that my very first trainer was a guy named Javier Santana, who actually worked WCW. He would help train Sean getting ready for that Bret Hart match. You know, all right, cool. Well, then another guy came around named Virus, Jerry Reyes. Came around, okay, out of all you guys, I want you, and you come train over here at the original place that Texas Wolverine All Stars was. on Presa. So it was myself, Gabe the Babe, ACH, Barry Breeze, Johnny Heisman, a bunch of guys. We just started training. Uh, by this time, I was already, I was still active duty, but I was working at a unit. So I trained whatever, and that's how I got into it. Like I just started, just going and doing lucha shows originally, and then I started getting picked up here, getting picked up there, and it was a blast. It was fun, getting in a car and driving off here, driving off there, um, road trips. Yeah, let's have fun. Running out of gas in the middle of nowhere, pop flats in the middle of nowhere. Uh, Being told, "Hey, I'm going to pay you this much when y'all get here," and then getting paid like one third, one fourth of that. So barely having enough to put gas in just so we can go to the next one. Um,
Did anything like that ever discourage you from continuing to wrestle? Like, kind of, how the old saying is, you come for a handshake and a hot dog type situation. Did you ever kind of think, man, like maybe this isn't for me, or were you already too into it to say, hey, I'm not stopping right now?
I was too into it already to stop. Plus, all the old timers like, "Nah, kid," or "Nah, man, you just got to push it. You just got to want this." I mean, and that's what back then I was like, "Yeah, I want this." So I would go. I would go do these shows and meet new guys. And all right, hey man, I remember saw you on this show. Do you want to come out, over here and do this show? And we'll see what we can do. I'm like, you know what? Let's do. I'm there. Let's go. I'm ready to go. Let's do this. Wrestling is a different beast. Like it can be successful, but then at the drop of a dime, like no one can remember you. And it's like, oh, like you just got to know when to choose and pick your battles.
I was looking through some of your old wrestling flyers, and I come across Texas Heat Wrestling at um, at the White Rabbit, which is not the White Rabbit anymore. I used to go watch shows there
Yeah.
at least 12 years ago. I had no idea that they ran a wrestling show. But what were some of those days like in Texas Heat
So
Wrestling?
Texas Heat was like really fun. Um, Texas Heat was super fun. We were the first and last time to ever run wrestling at the White Rabbit, and people came. We had to turn people away because we were that packed. Because people were freaking out, like, "There's wrestling? No way! I got to go." And so that show, man, that was a great show. We had we had a stacked card. We had Carson was on that card. Marvel versus ACH was on that card. Tito Sanchez, he's passed now. Rest in peace, Tito, was on that card. It was just a great card. Gabe the Bay was on that card. It was just so many guys on that card, and we're like, okay, what's the main event? Well, the main event is going to be a hardcore match. It's going to be Chuy Martinez versus Ruben Steele versus Chino Reyes, and we went up and down that place. Like we left the wrestling ring, we wrestled at the bar, we wrestled on picnic tables, just to go back to the ring, just to just like beat each other up. Like it was great. And I remember people like because at the end, I took like I guess you can say like the mist, but I took it and it was full of alcohol and Tabasco sauce. So when I took it, I remember being in the back and everyone's flushing my eyes out. People were just coming up to me like, I need more of this. I need to see this. This needs to happen more. That was one of my dad's like, my dad went to that show and like I could tell like he was like really freaked out. But then, when he got home, he called me. He's like, you know what, like I am freaked out, but I'm proud of you. Like I've never knew like all these people came up to you and know you, and they like were just like so happy. And I'm proud of you, and that's what kind of made my day on that one. Yeah, the Texas Heat was it was crazy because then from there we ran at a VFW, we ran at Reptiles, and then we ran at the Imperial Ballroom. And those shows were like Texas Heat shows were like really fun. Like I miss that company. I talked to Chewy. It may come back. It may not. If it does, that would be great. But yeah, those shows were like my funnest or the most fun I ever had.
That's awesome, man. I will say this: you're very entertaining. Um, like I said, I don't know if I said earlier, I don't know if it was recorded, but I said this earlier is that I had no idea that I've been watching you for at least 8 years. You come to San Marcos, where my hometown is, and that show was like there was nobody there, in which I'm sorry for that. I don't know if it was well promoted or not, but I know me and my family were there, and we look at pictures and we're like, hey, wait a minute, we've seen this guy and this new organization that we're seeing. Like, oh man, like, you know, do you ever see people from years and years come back to you and say, hey, I saw you here in this certain town? What does that make you feel like?
Was that the show at the Armory in San Marcos?
Yeah, it
Oh
was.
man,
Yeah, that was a show where people had
like
to
everyone had to wrestle three
sacrifice.
times, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
you know, if you can you walk us through that night? Because those who were there, which is probably like a handful of people, maybe the ones who put money into that, and
s-
like 5 people that went. Um,
oh, Uncle
can you
Jimmy.
can
So
you
yeah,
can you
definitely
tell
I
us
can do
about
that.
your experience there?
So I get there, and at the time, me and Chewy had kind of a falling out. We made up that night. So what happened was, is there was actually a lot of people there. But what happened was, is that uh, the promoter had on the flyers that there was going to be a women's match. Well, one of the girls was like, I didn't even know about this show. I'm at a concert. I didn't even know what's going on. And so the other girl was like, well, I'm not gonna wrestle. Okay. So then the promoter went and had these programs, filled it out with everyone. Well, he was using the girl that was there. He was using her likeness on him, and people were buying them at $20 a pop. Like people were buying them. So that girl's, boyfriend, husband, well, at the time I think boyfriend or fiance. He's a trainer promoter. He's like, hey, are you gonna cut her? Give her a cut? And Uncle Jimmy was like, no, why? I made these. Like, we're using her likeness and they're selling. Well, I'm not gonna give her a cut. A lot of words were exchanged. Possible fight was gonna happen. We're in the back like that guy. He's like, boys. He's like this. Let's go. We're getting out of here now. We use more. He used more colorful words, but trying to keep this as PG as we can. He used a lot more colorful words. Um, so they left. Well, when they left, all the fans they brought were like, "No, we're leaving. There's no wrestling. We haven't seen any wrestling. We want a refund." So that almost caused another issue, and we're like, "Man, like, what are we gonna do?"
I can remember that night. My me and my wife, my daughter, were like, "What's going on? Why hasn't the show started? What's going on?" And little did we know that a lot of this stuff. My wife picks up on some of this stuff. We go to concerts all the time. Sometimes that I perform or wrestling shows, and she'll be in the periphery, kind of looking at what's going on. I'm like, "Yeah, man, let's just watch the show." And she'll be looking at all this stuff, and she noticed that there was kind of an atmosphere shift in the room, and she could tell something was going down.
So, oh man, and I love your wife, man. Your wife is awesome. She's phenomenal. Um, so they all leave with that crowd. We're like, what are we gonna do? Some of the guys start changing back into their clothes, like, well, I'm not doing this. Promoter's like, no, we're gonna wrestle. I'm gonna pay y'all. Don't worry. But everyone, it's gonna have to wrestle like twice or three times. Like, what? Like, are you serious? Because not only was I in a singles match that night, I was in a tag match and I was in a battle royal. And the promoter ended up like stiffing us, like gave us like 10, $15, and like a lot of that was in change. And we're like, you know what? You need this more. And then a bunch of us just got together. We went to Pluckers in San Marcos, and we're like, we'll go to Pluckers. And then we went to a place called Showtime or Game Time or something like that. We went there and we just had a blast. I remember having to follow a couple of guys home because at the time, my ex-wife, she passed out in the passenger seat. So I'm all like, all right, guys, I'm gonna follow y'all. So followed them home. We had a blast. That was an interesting show. I never worked for that promoter again. Some guys still do, which is whatever. but I never did.
Yeah, after that night, we were kind of, even us as fans were very much like, do we really want to go to one of these shows? Because it was a point where he was charging $20 for front row seats, and the second row seats weren't that far. Anyway, yeah, it
Yeah,
just
I
felt
know.
overpriced. It felt
So,
overpriced and that kind of thing.
one
So
of the one of the biggest things to come back, what you had asked me originally, I guess one of the biggest things that freaked me out, and I was like, "What?" Like I couldn't believe it. And I was like, "Man, thank you." So you know who Aaron Mercer is, right?
yes, sir.
So Mercer comes to me at a show, not all fanboy or nothing, but he's like, "Hey, man, I remember when he was a ref." And so, but I remember he comes to me like we are doing heavy metal. Chino, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, what? He's all like, I remember watching you years ago. I'm like, how many years ago? And he's all like, at the time, I think he says, yeah, I was like 15 or 16 when y'all did a show in Medina Valley. And I remember watching, and I was just like, what? And he's like, yeah, you went out there, and y'all had a great show. You and the guy you wrestled, and it was fun to watch. And he goes, and now here we are, almost like 10, 11. I forget how many years it was at the time. He's almost 10, 11, I think, whatever years is later, and we're in the locker room together. He's all, that was pretty cool. I'm all like, man, like that took me back. I was like, thank you. Like like when fans, fans do that too. Like I remember when I seen you, 5 years ago here, and I remember seeing you this, and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, but when like Mercer came up to me, I was all like, wow, man, like thank you, brother. Like that really like made me feel really good, man. Thanks.
And to piggyback on that, at that show was you and Madness was on that, and I know he's still doing his thing in San Antonio. It was Great Scott, but before he had the Great Scott character, which is kind of like a little more. It was more like of a Spanish kind of wrestler, or like
Yeah,
Carlos
yeah,
Santiago. And then Ruben Steele, he kind of had like a Rob Van Dam kind of look on him, like he had like a singlet with
yeah.
like all
He
this
was going
crazy
by like
Rob stuff.
Iron Wolf.
Yeah, so he was doing all that, and then come to, years later, or not 2 years later, but years later down the line, still being a wrestling fan, still going to live shows. Um, we see the first heavy metal taping that we went to. I know there was kind of some rumblings that I heard, and through different people, and we heard that there was tapings. So we went to the not the first taping. It was probably maybe you guys were maybe 2 months in, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm seeing these guys that I know, but they have these updated characters. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know him. He was in here. And then, oh, I know him. Wait a minute. And so the familiarity happened. How did you get started with heavy metal wrestling? Was that, or did they call you right off the bat? Or how did that whole thing come out? Because it organically grew to something super big there in San
So
Antonio.
heavy metal. I love heavy metal. Every, as much as I love Texas Heat, I love heavy metal. Um, I've known Dylan, I've known Scotty, I've known those dudes when they first broke into the business, like a long time ago. And so I was just coming off a broken ankle. I was in a boot. I started going to the shows, started hanging out with the boys, doing boy stuff. And I remember telling Dylan, like, hey man, like this boot's coming off in a little bit. I would really love for an opportunity to wrestle here and see how it goes. He's all, man, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want you to get hurt again. I'm like, let me deal with that. Just if you can give me a chance. He's like, all right, cool. I'll give you a chance. See what you can do. All right, cool. And the rest is history. Started doing the show, started being there, doing all the shows, and having a great time. Being out there with the fans, being out there with the boys. Heavy metal was like an elite thing to be part of. They didn't play when they said they weren't about backstage politics, about you know oh, I can do this in this locker room. And no, like those guys were legit. Like that was probably one of the you know other than Texas Heat locker rooms and the original BOW, the original BOW locker rooms. That's probably one of the most legit locker rooms that I was ever in. And I enjoyed my time with them. I love those guys to death. I know, like I said, I have friends who don't like this person or don't like this person. Like I said, I'm trying to be cool with everyone. I love those guys to death.
One of the things I noticed about heavy metal wrestling. I first started watching it on Twitch, and when I started seeing all the things, is that it ran so professional, more professional than I've seen any kind of, I guess you would say, like kind of the indie level. Because I've been to very many indie shows in San Antonio, uh, through Lockhart, my own town, and none run as smooth and as like clockwork. Like it was just like you're watching like a WWE or whatever kind of event. There's definitely major level. What do you think? What do you think that's different that how they run that's makes it run so smoothly? What do you think that kind of separates them from the rest?
It's the way it's run. The people who are in the back running it. Like, hey guys, we have this and this and this, and this is what we need to do, and this is how we're gonna do it. Plus, it's the guys who are working the show. Don't get me wrong. Like, sometimes be like, oh, okay, you saw this person, but you wouldn't see him again. We saw this person a couple of times, but you never see him again. They were very, how do I put it? They were very, that company was very disciplined. Like, hey, boom, we need to do this. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. And then, with the guys that ran the production team, Josh, and then all the guys that were, well, I mean, I know he wasn't the only one, but then the guys who were like doing the filming, doing the editing, all that, like it was really professional. It wasn't like, "Ah, I'll get to it later." Like, no, hey, I need to do this now and now and now. We need to get this product out. We need to do it. We need to bust our tails to get it out. Um, the It was very goal driven to compete, and compete it did, because, like you said, there's not very many companies that, other than the big feds, that run that way, or the product when you see it on Twitch, on YouTube, you know when they did, I think, like a pay-view thing, a pay-per-view type thing for big matches, like really huge events. You didn't see that type of quality unless it was a well-known fed. And with those guys, like, they're really like, okay, boom, 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 boom. And that's one of the big difference that they showed.
And honestly, man, my family, my daughter especially, growing up kind of watching wrestling with me, she loved it. Like every we would cheer for you. We cheer for the guys that we've seen for years. Guys like Cesar Reyes and Ruben Steele. Those guys were like, man, hey, you remember when this guy, he was all in your face, and now we're here, we're watching him, we're all hanging out. And one of the things, man, that I want to say on your part, you treat the fans so well. Um, anytime you would say, there's some guys that we run into, and they're like, kind of, you're a fan, okay, go sit down. Honestly, you're not like that. And what is it that you learn, or what is it that gives you that mindset that kind of you need to embrace the fans rather than some, hey, go sit down in a seat kind of attitude?
While I get it, my whole thing is this: is like, at the end of the day, I'm here to entertain you. To, like, hey, like, I came to see a show, and you did it. But I mean, we're human, man. Like, I want to make our connection as personal as I can. So it'd be like, what, like Chino, like, he's a real stand-up guy. Like, he's good people. I'm not gonna blow smoke. Not gonna blow smoke and mirrors. I'm not gonna do that. Like, what you see is what you get. So when I go to then see the people before the match, like, hey, I'm so glad you came out. Thank you for coming out, because you know what, I want you to come back. I want you to be like, hey, you know what? Let me invite a friend now. Let me bring this person. Let me bring these people. Because at the end of the day, the fans, if there's no fans, if there wasn't any fans, we wouldn't have a job. And people are like, well, look at WWE and look at what they're doing. They're doing no people, all this stuff. True, but people are still tuning in to watch, which means they're still having fans. So you want the people to be comfortable. You want them to be like, hey, I can go chill with that guy. Like, hey, Chino, you know what? I'm gonna go kick in the parking lot. Whatever. You want to join us? Hey, man, give me a couple minutes. Let me go say hi to these people. I'll be out there, bro. I'm not there to rush you off, or to be like, oh, hey, or you just be there. Hey, PJ, what's up, man? Cool, cool, bye. Hey, bro, what's going on? Oh, man, the family's here. Awesome, bro. Hey, Mia. Hey, mama, what's going on? You want the fans to come back. You need the fans to come back. and it's like word of mouth. Like I just said, now you, your wife, your daughter came. Well, now two more people came. Well, with those two people next show, now another three people came. With those three, like it's a snowball. So why am I going to be a jerk to y'all?
That's right. We seen it grow, man. When the first night we came, there was maybe a handful, maybe about 10 people. Then with every week as it progressed, there was more and more people. And we tried to make it to every single show that we could. And my parents, man, honestly, my parents are old school wrestling fans, and for them, it brought them back to that old school feel that that it was. And you're one of those guys that my parents like, man, I like that dude. So you, Dylan, a lot of those guys kind of have an old school kind of feel when you do when you're performing, when you're wrestling. And I just want to just let you know that yes, we were entertained and we enjoyed y'all's company, because it's like I said, we've been to a lot of shows where the guys are just like, yeah, that's cool, you're here, go sit down, enjoy the show, but that's it. You know what I mean? And we appreciate you for being out there and outspoken, being with the fans and whatnot.
No, I truly enjoyed hanging out with any fan that I could. I love hanging out with the fans. Like, why not? Like, hey, y'all came here for a show. Why don't I go out there and like I said, shoot the breeze with y'all, have a good time. You're there for a good time. Let's have a good time.
All right. The last time I seen you in person was November. That was the last taping of Heavy Metal Thunder. What were your thoughts about the ending, the weekly show? What was going through your mind? How were you feeling? What can you tell us about some of that show?
Um, you could tell that in the back, it was just like everyone's like, you know what? And people say that use it as a cliche or whatever the case, but you know what? This is it. This is gonna be a big thing for us. It's gonna be like God, I hate to compare it to this, but it's gonna be our big show. It's gonna be, this big show, that big show. Like this is it for us. Like guys, like we're not running here anymore. The weekly show's going away. Here, go out there and have a blast. All right, let's do this. Let's go out there. Let's give these fans one last good show here. Let's give these fans something they're gonna remember. For later on, they're like, man, I remember that last show at the pit, 61 Kinder. Oh man, that show was phenomenal. That show I'll never forget. It's in my top five, my top three. So going in there like, hey, this is the match you're gonna have. All right, look, man, let's do it. Let's go out there. We're just doing it. And we went out there. Hey, this is your time. Cool. That's enough. We don't need any more than that. We're gonna go out there. We're gonna start the show. We're gonna get them super hot. Y'all got to do the rest. And it was just it was really different. It was like it was a magical feeling, I guess. I don't know how that's an overused phrase also, but it was like really magical. Like it really it I guess for me personally, I knew that once we left that day, like it was okay. I know that I had so much fun here, and I gave it everything. And you know what? There's nothing more that we can do here. So I'm gonna go out there and have all the fun I can, and that's it.
Man, we loved it. We loved it, man. So what was honestly, there in heavy metal, there's a lot of different characters. Like there's that I can't remember what his name is, but there's like a guy in a demon mask, and he's supposed to be,
Hellspawn?
yeah, Hellspawn from Chile.
Yeah.
There's guys like Manimal. There's guys like yourself, kind of like a Stone Cold Steve Austin, but a South Side, that kind of thing. How did you guys develop uh, your characters for that? Because I think it's a very not local, but it's very much a Texas kind of feel to a lot of the characters. How'd you guys develop some of those things?
I can't speak for anyone else. Me, I was like, you know what? I like to have a good time, and I like to beat people up in the ring. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take those two, put them together, but I'm gonna put my being proud, being very prideful, being very proud. I'm sorry, being very proud of being from the South Side, being from San Antonio, I want people to know anywhere I go, like, oh man, that dude's from Texas. Yeah, that dude's from Texas. Yeah, he's definitely from Texas. So I just like, you know what? I'm gonna do my thing. I mean, that's how personally I came up with mine. Like I can't, like I said, I can't speak for Manimal, I can't speak for Hellspawn, I can't speak for all those guys, but it's basically what you, like I said, what you see is what you get. That the Chino you see in the ring, is the Chino at home, minus the chugging the beer and beating people up. But it's the same personality. It's one of those things where I can be myself regardless of where I'm at, and people know, like, man, like that dude's cool, like that dude can that dude can legit, hang out and have a good time and not worry about anything. I mean, that's how I came up with my gimmick.
And I think it comes across as very natural, very real. Um, has that always been your character? I know when I seen you in San Marcos, you're wearing kind of it was, I think, a little more played down, like blue tights and blue boots. Has that always been kind of your character, or has it changed over the years?
It's really changed over the years. Because before it was like, you know what, I'm just gonna be this kind of fat guy that can move. But there's a bunch of fat guys that can move. Okay, well, be a fat guy who can move, but I'm gonna want to pump the crowd up and get him behind me. Well, there's a lot of people that just pump the crowd up and get him behind them. You know what? I'm just gonna be me. I'm just gonna go out there. I'm gonna connect with the people. I'm gonna have a great time. I'll chug a beer with a fan or two. I'm gonna get in the ring, beat someone up. Then I'm gonna go back out, chug another beer with a fan or two. Call it a day. And that's I'm like, you know what? That works. That works best. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it was sparkling water. Sometimes it was just regular water. But yeah, it was one of those things like, you know what? I need to be able to make that personal connection. So that's what I'll do. And that's basically that's how I came up with it.
Is there one guy that you wrestled in that time during heavy metal wrestling that you could say that, or what was your favorite match? What was your favorite storyline and match that you went through during that time?
That's a good one because I mean it was like so many like just like great guys, great workers. Um, I don't know, to be honest with you. I really love working. I guess Rob Love, when it was just one of those things like that. The chemistry was so natural. The fluidity was like, we're like, okay, I'm gonna beat you up. You're gonna beat me up, and we're gonna fight. So let's do this. Because I'm not. Wow. Thank you, Super Cat. Um. Um. It. It. Those matches with Rob were probably my favorite. Don't get me wrong. I had a blast every match I had. Um. But with Rob, that was something. That was. I personally I really enjoyed him. Like I wouldn't take those matches back. Because we wrestled several times, especially when he was a TV champion. Um. So we had a blast. I had a blast. And I would I that guy's one of those guys that I'll wrestle anywhere, which I did. I also wrestled him in other promotions, and we always had great matches. So that guy, is probably one of the top one, yeah, one of my top storylines. Rob Love,
I
and that
think
guy's he's
that with your character and his character, he's like the ultimate heel. He wants no applause from the fans, and like there's some guys that even though they're heels, they still want kind of the applause from the fans. He's a guy that does, or the way that he works it is he doesn't care, but that's what makes his character so good. And I think you being the ultimate kind of baby face, that kind of party guy that likes to be with the fans, and that whole dichotomy there really works well when it comes to the wrestling storylines. And we like I said, we appreciate it so much because we had a
no,
lot
I
of fun watching them.
I appreciate y'all. I really do. Like I said, I appreciate any fan that's ever seen me. That's went home and be like, I was entertained. That fat guy, he entertained me. I really enjoyed that match. And it was, I love this business. With the day I step away, it's gonna be like, okay, I really had to think about it and I really had to step away. But until then, I'm just gonna keep rolling with it and have fun and just do my thing.
One last thing before we take off.
Okay.
You worked a match with New Jack. I wasn't there that night, but you hear stories about New Jack. I saw the dark side of the ring about him, and he kind of he's New Jack 24 hours a day. What was your experience like working with him? I think it was at a battle royal. What was the what was it like?
That guy's probably one of the, and I'm not, once again, blowing smoke. I'm not kissing, rear end. I'm not doing anything like that because I'm not that person. Probably one of the most professional guys I've ever worked with. Hey, what are we doing? You know what? You let the boys know what we're doing. I'll come and do my thing. Yes, sir. You got it. It was probably for me that was a milestone. Some guys like I wrestled him once, I wrestled him twice. I was like, cool man. I'm glad you have, dude, to be in the ring with him, to shake his hand at the end, and to hug him. I was like, wow, like this is a big milestone for me. One of the most professional guys. He was like, look, I know I have. If you've heard early stories about me, you've seen this and that. Yeah, I do what I have to do. I don't feel like doing what I have to do tonight. We're like, no, we're not even about that. We're not here to make a name for ourselves. We're not here to get over. We're just here to give the fans a good show, and we're here to do our thing. So we're like, okay, so let's do our thing. And it was like one of the that was it was an awesome match. And yeah, like I said, other people have their things. They're saying whatever. That was probably one of the most professional guys I've ever been in the ring with.
One last, absolute last thing, and I really do appreciate your time with me. How do you want to be remembered? And what was one of your, or first off, what was one of your greatest experience in the wrestling business? And how do you want to be remembered?
Man, that's a good one. I guess one of my greatest wrestling experiences is we did a show in Mexico. Um, it was me, Chewy, and Ruben. Because back in the day, like if you found one of us, you found all three of us. Um, so we did a show, and it was probably one of the best experiences ever. Like the promoters took really care of us. We went to the best. I'm talking about the best Buffalo Wild Wings in the world, and this is in Monterrey, Mexico. Like it's the best one, hands down. Um, so we go to that. We do the show. The fans party with us. We have a great time. Like we had an awesome time. Um, the very next day, we get to go to a concert for free. Um, we get to see Brujeria like live in person. Like what, in Mexico? No way! Like that was probably like one of my greatest like wrestling experiences ever. Like like wow, like dude, I got to do this, I got to do this, I had to do this, I got to do all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I still got to go to a concert and I got to go home. And you know what? I was telling at the time, my wife at the time, like this would happen. This never. You have pictures. Oh, showing her all the pictures. And she's all like you really had a blast. I go, yeah, dude. Like I wasn't there to like do stuff and you know all these other stories you hear about guys who go to Mexico and this. No, I was there to wrestle. I was there to have a great time, and the concert was the bonus at the end. Like that was phenomenal. Um, Me personally, how I don't know how I want to be remembered. Hey, remember Chino? Oh man, yeah, he didn't play. I guess I want to be remembered as that guy's like he was cool. Like that dude was cool. He was a great guy. Love, he's the kind of guy you want on he's the kind of guy that you want to have your back. Because he'll go the distance for you. I guess I mean that's me personally. Like I said, depending on who you ask, other guys could be like, nah, he's a jerk. He's a he's a cancer. He's a disease. Shouldn't be in the business. Like I've told anyone who's ever said that or when I've ever got wind of it, say it to my face. If you can't, then your words mean nothing, and I'm not worried about it. But I just want to. I guess I want to be remembered. Yeah, as that guy that was just you know, dude, Chino was cool. Like he was really cool. Like he was awesome. Like he was fun to hang out with. He was fun to be with. And you know what? I'll hang out with that guy any day.
Man, that's awesome. And I feel like in as far as my family is concerned, that's you. We know you as that, and I don't think we'll ever see you as anything else but that. And you're great to us, man. And hopefully one day we can hang out again after all this dumb junk is done.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I'm
'Cause,
definitely I miss everyone. You know,
yeah,
like I said, I love hanging out. Like I love hanging out with you, the wife, the daughter, and I'm always down to hang out, man. But like I said, we got to get through all this garbage that's happening right now, and once this passes, we can see where we stand as people, not us, but
right.
as a whole,
Yeah,
and we can see about just hooking back up and having a good time.
we just need to unite again, man. That's the whole problem with this world right now is they don't know how to unite anymore,
This is
and
very true.
they're divided by skin color, which is crazy, which I would never understand. Um, but man, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. Appreciate the love you're giving me. We're always giving you love, man. And hopefully, like I said, once everything clears, we can get together again and hang out, watch some wrestling, and hopefully they could change the heavy metal venue to like something other than a bar because my daughter can't get in. So I'll
No,
let her
and
in.
I mean, we we go where we go.
Yeah, I
You
get it.
can always suggest that, and I get that. But I mean, you know how rowdy that crowd gets, and I totally get, hey, my daughter can't get in. That sucks because I want to take her. You can always suggest it, but PJ, I always love hanging out with you, man. You know, I know we've talked here and there. I'm always a message away. Um, anyone watching this, I'm always willing to talk to people as long as I'm
Yeah.
not working because I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you.
No,
Um,
yeah, let's do you have any social media sites that man they think man, other than wrestling that you're a great guy. How where can they look you up at? Is
so
there like a fan page or anything like that?
Facebook. No, because my like I know guys make like their professional page and that's too much work. Like you just type Chino BAFA Reyes on Facebook, three names, you'll find me. My Twitter is Chino Reyes 210. My Instagram is Chino BAFA Reyes. But if you're gonna hit me up, do it on either Twitter or Facebook because my not my Snapchat. Well, I have that too, but no. Uh, my Instagram is actually like more from like my work. So like I'll post pics like with my dog and whatever, but that's mainly I honestly just created my Instagram just for work.
Speaking of that, what do you sell coffee or are you
So
part of a
so I
tell
work
me
for
about
Black
that
Rifle.
because I love coffee. I know I said we are gonna stop here, but let's talk about that.
Real quick. I work for Black Rifle Coffee Company, veteran owned, veteran operated. Basically, we serve one of the best coffee products out there. You can find us at blackriflecoffee.com. I'm part of the customer service team, uh, and like I said, we just it's just not for veterans. You don't know how many people go out and buy our items. A lot of people may be a little. We are very vocal on our standpoint, different things. Some of our products aren't for people, and we get that. We totally get that. And we respect that. But for the most part, we're veteran owned, veteran operated. We support veterans, active duty, retired, first responders. Um, we try to do our best to just keep our community going.
Awesome, man. Well, that sounds like a good thing to get behind. I love coffee. Hopefully, I can get a taste of that as well
Yeah, I can definitely
at
hook you
some
up, man.
point. So definitely, and if I can get some, I'll actually do a review video on it, just so I can put it out there and help you guys out with your business as well.
No,
Um,
definitely, man.
so thank you once again. On that note, man, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're awesome. And
Thank you, man. Please give the family my love. Thank
most
you for having me
definitely.
on. Like I said, you ever want to reach out, talk to me, not just you, but any fans, hey, I'm having a bad day. I just want to talk. Cool. Reach out to me. I know exactly how that feels to be really depressed and, bad thoughts and stuff. And, I don't want anyone that to happen to anyone. So, like I said, I'm always available.
Most definitely. And I would say the same thing if anybody else is watching this as well. I'm more than open to talk to anybody and everybody and just be a shoulder to cry on or whatever the case is. thank you very much for having a light card as well, to just want to help people.
No, hey man, we should strive to help each other, plain and simple. We should stand behind each other, and we should help each other out. But once again, PZ, thank you so much for bringing me on. I really appreciate this. Like, I really did. Like, I could have just been in my room, playing on my phone. But you said, hey, can we do this? Why not? Why not?
Appreciate you, man. Definitely. All right, that's all the time we got, brother.